White-collar crime seems to be okay as he normalizes it.
Masterminding some grand strategy to attack on the Capitol.
Do you think that we'll see more copycat lawsuits like this?
Let's hop into a CNN panel discussing this new bombshell Proud Boys lawsuit being brought against the DOJ and whether or not Trump will bend the knee to it. So if you can, leave a like on the video, helps us out a bunch, lets us know you enjoy the content, and it's free. So hit that like button and let's get right into the debate.
I'm not sure each and every claim of seditious conspiracy. I don't know if they were the masterminds of January 6th. I'm not quite sure there were masterminds. I think it was much more of a mob riot than Enrique, whatever the gentleman's name is, masterminding some grand strategy to attack on the Capitol. I don't give him that much credit, but I think it's ridiculous that they're asking for money damages from the United States in the tune of $100 million. I hope they don't see one penny.
And this is what happens when you pardon these kind of people, openly racist and bigoted gang members, essentially, who literally beat cops, some of which who died, and planned the largest attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And this is who Trump wanted to pardon. So now, of course, they're coming to him asking for more. It's like when you feed a wild animal, and I wouldn't put it past Trump to just pay these clowns as well, because he capitulates to his base rather than the law, what's right, anything, and 100 million taxpayer dollars ain't nothing to him. Also, the seditious conspiracy is so valid for each and every one of them. I would love to know which one he thinks isn't. This guy just has no idea what he's talking about and just like by nature is wanting to defend Republicans. Enrique Tarrio literally sent out memos to coordinate everyone who was at the Capitol in terms of like the Proud Boys people, not the people who were at the Trump rally, sent them to the Capitol with specific plans of taking the House and Senate chambers with Congress members as hostages, with step-by-step plans on how to do this and orchestrate it. The messages are publicly available for anyone to read. The only bigger mastermind in this whole thing was Donald Trump, who spent months lying about the election fraud while enlisting fraudulent electors before sending this mob to the Capitol to fight like hell and pressure Mike Pence to violate the Constitution and unconstitutionally instill him back in power as a quasi-dictator.
I think it's hard for a lot of people to think that, one, it would have gotten to this point after they were convicted on such serious charges, had such serious sentences against them, and not only had it pardoned or commuted, they're now asking for money and punitive damages from the Justice Department.
You know, if this were normal times, you're absolutely right, Caitlin, but we're in Trump's America, where white-collar crime seems to be okay as he normalizes it, where what was one of the things he did on the very first day in office? He pardoned all of these people, even those who perpetrated violence against the United States of America. So the fact, of course they're suing, I guess is my message here, which is Trump made it very clear to them when he let them out on day one, I'm assuming some probably with an auto pen because it was like 1,500 people.
And let's again point out some MAGA hypocrisy here, where MAGA claimed for years to care so much about election fraud and election security when they, thought that they could pin it on the Democrats, which they don't do anymore because at least the masses of them realize how absolutely stupid they would look trying to pretend the Democrats stole an election in 2020 when Republicans were in power, but then didn't steal it when they were in power 4 years later. Though some clowns still can't admit to themselves that they were lied to and were dumb enough to believe it and make it a large part of their personality. But to go from all of that to then supporting the members who actually perpetrated the second largest attack on our democracy since the Civil War, being pardoned by the guy who launched the only bigger attack on our democracy since the Civil War, Donald Trump. Like, it's an absolute clown show. They don't have any ethics or moral standard that they would actually hold to. And anyone who espouses that nonsense still as if like elections could have still been stolen or these people deserve their part, like, you just can't take these people's opinions serious.
Do you think that we'll see more copycat lawsuits like this?
Caitlin, I can't predict. Look, do I think that every one of the January 6th defendants deserves the sentences they got? No, I don't think that's so. I think there are gradations of this. Those on the west front of the Capitol, different than the east front of the Capitol, those that hit police officers and acted with violence, and those who were let in past the barricades by Capitol Police. I think that there's a wide range. It's a very complex day.
Another hilarious point being made here, MAGA pretending, oh, we can't possibly afford to put immigrants in front of immigration courts, only to now have our courts being overrun by people who beat cops to death in the name of Donald Trump that he then pardoned for political points. Also, no, every one of these dumbass clowns at the Capitol deserves the charges they got. They probably deserve much more severe charges than the ones they got. In fact, anyone who went to the Capitol and wasn't charged, even if they were just walking around, should absolutely be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Every single one of these clowns should be made an absolute example of, so nobody ever gets the idea to try and, I don't know, overthrow our democracy again because they're in a cult. Why do Republicans only want to be tough on crime in black neighborhoods? I think that's a conversation we should have. We need the Democrats back in charge so the adults can be back in the room. Like, I literally don't even know how we survive this clown show for the next 4 years.